This is the beauty of this world. If you do the right things, whichever way, it still works. You do it crying, you do it with love, you do it with joy, you do it with hatred, you do it with anger. If you do the right thing, it works. This is the way of the world. As long as you're doing the right things, it doesn't matter how you do it, it still works. There is no such thing as only if you do it lovingly it'll work. No, if you do it lovingly, it'll be beautiful for you, that's all. The process will be wonderful for you, otherwise it'll be misery, but it still works. If you go and water these mango plants with great distress, still it works, mangoes will come. It's just that you can't enjoy it, somebody else will eat it. If you do it very joyfully, lovingly, the first sight of the flower, you'll notice it, maybe you will get to eat it. Otherwise, you may not eat it, but it still works. So, this is the beauty of this existence. As long as you're doing the right things, it works. How you do it will decide the quality of your life. Not whether it happens or not, it'll anyway happen. It once happened, there was a chicken farmer. You know, the chicken farmer, a poultry farmer. So as a part of enhancing productivity, he was always researching, and one day he found a newspaper article about how a man set a record by laying 24,000 bricks in a day, bricklayer. So he was very inspired. He cut this article out of the newspaper and he was taking it into the poultry. People asked, what are you going to do? Where are you going? He said, I am going to tell all my chicken how this man laid 24,000 bricks in a day. You're hoping. It doesn't work like this. This is not the way it works. A man laid 24,000 bricks, you tell your chicken, it's not going to lay 24,000 eggs for you. It doesn't work that way. Just to find out how this one works, unfortunately, people take a whole lifetime and still they don't know how this works. If you understand this much, that if you raise beyond your discrimination and if you're able to look at everything as one, if you have only one eye for everything, for this one kind of eye, for this another kind of eye. No, not that. You have only one eye for everything. If you're like this, suddenly your body will be full of light, it works. This one thing, just this one thing. If you can, instead of being here, if you allow your spirituality to go till here, if these two eyes get submerged and you are able to see everything with one eye, not with two. You like this person, you don't like this person, you love this person, you hate this person, you are all okay with this one, not okay with this one. This one is nice, you can't stand that one. If you just transcend that, if you're able to look at everything with one eye, sadhana will go to a different dimension altogether. This one thing you must do, otherwise lighting up takes a lot of effort. If you want to light up without this, it takes phenomenal effort and it dissipates very soon. See, when you're looking at your life only as a survival process, discrimination is a must. You walk out on the street, you are like any other animal in the forest, constantly looking, who is okay, who is not okay, where is the danger, where is a friend, where is an enemy, constantly looking at. If you live in that condition, survival gets taken care of, yes. But this discriminatory process, if it exceeds its limits, then everything in the existence becomes fragmented and the chances of ever you lighting up becomes remote. It is useful only for survival. If you want to look at life, if you want to perceive life for what it really is, you need one eye. The two will help you to survive, and that's all. It is just that over a period of time, survival, the word survival might have gotten complicated. No, that is not it, it's not just survival. To carry my profession, to pursue my career, to do this, to do that, I need discriminatory mind. It is just that you have complicated your survival process, that's all. What used to be just food in the stomach at one time, survival, now it has become many things. The survival process has gotten extremely complicated. As the so-called civilization happens, people did not get really civilized. They complicated their savagery. Simple savagery was you saw a man, if you didn't like him, you speared him. Simple savagery. Now it's very complex. If you don't like somebody, you write a wrong article in the newspaper, not mentioning anything about him, but you'll maul him in a million different ways. So complicating, constantly going on complicating the survival process will present you with many problems, and of course you could find solutions. You could busy yourself in inventing problems and finding solutions. What is the solution ultimately? You will see if you go like this, the only relief, both for the people who believe they are finding solutions and people who are directly, who are straightforward about creating problems and people who create problems in roundabout ways. For both of them, the only relief ultimately will be to rest in peace, because that's the only time they will know what it means to at least lie down in one place without rolling within themselves all the time. Not one moment of stillness will you ever know. If you have not known the beauty and immensity of being still, put it simply, you're actually ill. If I sit like this, naturally you will think I'm ill, isn't it? Is this not what's happening with your mind? This is illness. Your only comfort is, even the doctor is not able to see. Because two shaking people can't see each other shaking. If you can't get a handle on this life, do you believe that you have any grasp of the whole cosmic scape or any other aspect of life? You think it's possible? It is just that you will become dedicated to your psychological process. What's happening in your mind? Your thought and your emotion becomes of paramount importance. When your thought and your emotion becomes paramount importance, to put it very simply, what it means is your petty creation has taken precedence. It will become far more important than the grandeur of the Creator's creation. That's all it means. That is a very small way to exist on the planet. The smallest way for a human being to exist is to be caught up in his creation. Because what you can create here, whoever you may be, however powerful you may be, however capable you may be, what you can create is so petty compared to escape of creation that's already happened. If you want to know life, if you want to taste life, if you want to suck the sap of life, it's never going to happen through your psychological process. We fear technology because of the kind of people who will handle it. That's a problem. Technology is a fantastic facilitator. Technology is a big relief from a huge burden we've been carrying on our heads, but we fear this well-being because we have not taken care of what kind of human beings we create on this planet. We have not focused on that. We have not focused, our education systems have not focused on what sort of human beings we produce in this world. We're trying to fix it with 5 ethics or morals or don't do this, do this. This is not going to work. Forever they have taught and these things have not worked because you cannot restrain a human being by telling him, do this, don't do this. If there was a sense of inclusiveness, as we went through this earlier, if you sat here and experienced all of them as part of yourself, you will not need any kind of guideline from anybody. You will not do anything unnecessary for somebody else, isn't it? This is yoga. Yoga means there is a union with everything around you. Right now, we are valuing only people's memory. Well, we will produce machines which will have 1,000,000 GB, all right? So your brains cannot contain that much. So now it becomes significant. We are coming to a time where human consciousness will become the most important thing. One thing the machine cannot do is to be conscious. So, what kind of a human being you are will become more important than what nonsense you carry in your head. Isn't it great time? Hello? Great times are coming. So we should not fear technology. Well, as you said, laws to regulate this, that you can do, but within no time there'll be technologies to circumvent those laws, as you're seeing always. Well, all these years, if you make a law, it takes 15, 20 years to circumvent it. The time is coming, if you make a law, within 3 days they'll circumvent it. Yes, because the capability is such. So these are great times that none of your laws will work. The only thing that'll work is, what sort of human being are you? Then human energy, human education, everything needs to focus on what sort of human beings do we produce. This should become the prime interest of humanity, that what kind of a human being am I? Am I inclusive or exclusive? This is a basic question.
Yes, you're absolutely right, because right from the first invention of man, which is fire, it can be used for good and for bad purposes. So I think every invention of man has a dual use. You can use it for good, you can also use it for harm. And I think, as you rightly pointed out, it is only your inner ethical and moral compass that guides, what use you put to that technology. But I think we have to be very watchful to see that the benefits outweigh, some of the potential harms, and unless we are proactively thinking about it, it may just come upon us and it may be too late.
Can I say something which is a little little ahead of time, but it's time to look at it because times will roll faster in the coming years. See, please look back and see. In this world, people who thought they're really good people, they have created more harm in this world, or so-called bad people have caused more harm in this world. Please tell. Hello? Good people cause more harm, unfortunately, because it's a good Indian fighting a good Pakistani. It is a good Muslim fighting a good somebody else. It is a good American fighting just about anybody. Because the more good you think you are, you have more reason to fight, unfortunately. So-called bad people, criminals, they kill one or two. The real raising of civilizations happen by people who believe they are doing a great thing, isn't it? They're very proud, they are fulfilling their moral compass, they are fulfilling their ideologies, their philosophies. They really believe they're doing a great thing. Especially the moment you think you're not just doing good, you're doing God's own work, you will do the maximum damage. Because the nature of human action is such, our actions are never perfect. Never, ever. One who thinks they are doing perfect action is a fool. Our actions are never perfect. When our actions are not perfect, there must be little hesitation in everything that we do. But the moment you believe you are the best or the greatest or the best possible creature on this planet, then you can do horrible things with absolute confidence. Yes, if you have little doubt, you will hesitate. So this is very important. We have tried to manage humanity by the fear of God. It's not worked. We have tried to manage humanity with goodness and karma. You do this, you will be punished somewhere else. It has not worked. We have tried to manage human beings by teaching them ethics, morals, everything, but you know in how many different ways they circumvent that when it's to their advantage. But what you know as myself, what you know as a part of yourself, with that you don't need any of these things, isn't it? If I see you as a part of myself, I don't need the fear of God not to harm you, I don't need morals not to harm you, I don't need ethics to keep myself away from harming you, I just won't do it, because such a thing never arises within me.
I think you brought us back to the…
I'm sorry if I'm very abrasive.
No. You brought us back to the theme of inclusiveness.
Inclusiveness.
Yes. I want to ask you next about primary health care and preventive health, because after all I come from WHO and we have to remember that we have only about 10 years left for the Sustainable Development Goals to achieve health for all, that is the SDG 3. Now, health was enshrined in the very constitution of the World Health Organization, and health was defined even at that time, not just as a physical health, but also mental, spiritual and social health, and not just the absence of disease, but of well-being. It was also stated that it's a fundamental right of every human being to attain the highest attainable standards of health, that governments have a responsibility of providing basic health care services to their population, but also that individuals and communities need to take active responsibility and cooperate in order to improve the health of the people. So we see now more and more countries, the heads of states are actually committing to universal health coverage. In India, we have the Prime Minister launched the Ayushman Bharat program last year, which aims to cover 500 million people with not only with health insurance, but also with primary health care services. But again, primary health care, many people think it's been interpreted in different ways. People think about it as an essential package of health services. People have interpreted it as just a selective package of health services which you provide only to the poor. And others have interpreted it from social and political and economic aspects. But the way WHO defines primary health care is, of course, to deliver the basic health services across the life course to address, again, not only treatment and diagnosis, but preventive services, rehabilitation, palliative care, long-term care throughout the life course, from the newborn to the elderly. And we have to appreciate now that the proportion of elderly is growing worldwide. and we will have by 2030 about 500 million people globally over the age of 80 years. And the most rapid increases are going to happen in Asia, Latin America, and Africa of elderly. How do you integrate them? How do you make sure they live good quality of life till the very end? But primary health care is also about making the right policies, public policies, like banning tobacco and smoking in public places, by making sure that there are water and sanitation services.
We're banning tobacco and make marijuana legal.
That's another debate, yes. And also the third element of primary health care is to empower individuals and communities, actually, to take action at the local level so that they can optimize their own health. They can advocate for policies. We see young people now, Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old who has been advocating for climate change and who's actually managed to get heads of state to stand up and take notice of what she's saying. So I think a lot of hope now in young people. But people need to be co-developers of health and social services, but also they are self-carers and caregivers to others within their own families and communities. How can we integrate the practice of yoga and traditional medicine into our primary healthcare services so that they keep people healthy? It's not a question of treating illness once they're already ill. It's a bit late. Of course, there are medicines and things which you can use, but the aim should be to keep people healthy as long as possible. How do we integrate this, and have you had personal experience in India of being able to scale that up?
Well, the last part of your question is easy for me to answer. How to integrate yoga, how to make it available, large scale, various things are being done. But the larger part of your question, you will not settle with a simple answer from me, because better than anyone, you know the complexities involved in that. And as you come up with more solutions, people will come up with more issues. Let's say now you spoke about India, Ayushman Bharat. The wonderful thing is Prime Minister is taking two parallel ways. One is he's pushing yoga on one side and talking about insurance when you fall sick. Falling sick is not your privilege. Every human being needs to understand this, that it's not a privilege or your right to fall sick. You have no business to fall sick. But if it happens, it is only an emergency. But in advanced countries, in Western countries, particularly I'm watching in United States, people think insurance is their privilege and they must exercise it. A nation with see, an individual person or a society or a nation seeks affluence. In the initial stages, because affluence promises choice of nourishment. In later stages, affluence brings choice of lifestyle. This is all human beings are seeking through affluence. So the most affluent country on the planet, which has a wide choice of nourishment and lifestyle, 70% of them are on prescription medication, spends over $3 trillion as healthcare bill. A country which has so many choices of nourishment and lifestyle should not have a healthcare bill like that, isn't it? Hello? But 70% are on prescription medication, the remaining 30%, of course, buying it off the back street. Every nation is heading in this way as if this is the example to follow. Every nation is moving in that direction, that people are beginning to think, my health is my government's responsibility, or maybe it's the WHO's responsibility. No, every individual needs to understand my health is my business. If it goes wrong, somebody will support you, that's a different matter. But staying healthy is my business as an individual person. This is what yoga inculcates, that your health is 100% your business. You should not misunderstand the insurance net and government healthcare systems as a place that you need to go every day because it's there, it's your privilege to go there and exercise your right as a citizen. You have no business to go there as a life. As a life, you have no business to go to your hospital. You must live well and go straight to the undertaker. Yes. You're going to the hospital because not enough attention has been paid as to how this mechanism works. The most complex, the most sophisticated machine on the planet is human mechanism. Do you agree with me? No, I'm not saying how complicated you are, I'm talking about the human mechanism. But the problem is most human beings are trying to live here without even reading the user's manual. So the initial aspect of yoga means, first thing is you read the user's manual. How does this work? What does what in this one? I was just talking to a group of American people. They said, Sadhguru, why there is so much ill health in America? I said, see, there are many aspects. Let me not go into a big talk about what are all the things you need to fix. I said, if you just allow me to redesign your furniture in America, you will see your healthcare bill as a person will come down minimum 30 to 40%. Just your furniture, the way you sit. Most furniture is made in such a way, if I go sit like this, this is the only way you can sit. You cannot sit like this. If you sit like this, you're inviting illnesses because… Just to tell you a little bit, all of you know this, many of you are medical doctors, in this… here is all the vital organs. None of them are fixed with nuts and bolts, it's all hanging in nets. Hello? Only if you sit like this, they all function to their best. If you sit like this, they'll all pile on each other and they will not function well. It's as simple as that. Especially with a full stomach, after lunch if you sit like this, it definitely you're asking for trouble. Now, like this, there are many things we can go on with. I'm saying small things, if we just understand how this works. Simple forms of yoga is just that. You just understand how your breath works, how your heart beats, how things are functioning, how you should sit, stand and breathe. If this much you understand, most probably you will never go to your doctor. But there are other influences, you're breathing chemicals, you're eating chemicals, drinking chemicals, exposed to so many things, there are infections, and above all, there is a population where hardly you find a space where there are no people. People are infection, you know. Hello? Once there are a group of people, there are chimneys of infections going on. Our bodies have to battle to somehow manage this stuff. If only there's enough space, if there was enough space on the planet, I think they're transporting all the men to the Mars, then I think the ladies can live well here. If there was enough space on this planet, that is, if the populations were little less than what it is, a whole lot of this healthcare wouldn't be necessary simply because there's simply little more distance between human beings. Well, we have not addressed that at all. United Nations made a prediction by 2050 we'll be 9.7 billion people. Well, they're going by the predictions, by looking at the rate of growth and the extension of human life, which is a wonderful thing. But why don't we plan by 2050 or 75 we'll be 3.5 billion people? We need a plan, isn't it? We are so smart. If we think there are too many elephants in Africa, we cull them. All right? Hello? We are that smart. How come we don't understand? If we extend or postpone our death, we also need to postpone our birth. How come we don't understand simple arithmetic? We got too much going in our head, too full of ourselves. We don't see that one of me is bad enough, I don't have to leave 10 behind. I'm not saying children are wonderful, all right? But We produce children, we must also leave a wonderful world for them to live, isn't it? If you create a nasty and harsh world, if you create a very harsh world and go, these wonderful children that you bear will become ugly animals, believe me. It's very important that we leave a pleasant and wonderful world so that they can fulfill their lives as wonderful human beings. Is this not important? So if we want to address healthcare without addressing population issues, I think we are not serious about what we're talking. We cannot talk about human health without addressing the population issue in a big way. Most nations have just given it up because it's religiously sensitive or whatever. Even in India, there was a family planning ministry. Now that has been transformed into family welfare. I appreciate the intention, but we must be able to gauge the realities of our existence, not ideologies of what we think, isn't it? In the beginning of 20th century, we were only 1.6 billion people. Today we are 7.6 billion people. In 1 century, this is not just because of reproduction, this is because human life, people are living more full. For example, in 1947 when India got its independence, the average life expectancy of an Indian was 28 years. Today it is 71, fantastic. We want it to become 91 if it's possible. Average life expectancy should be 85, 90, it should get there. But when we postpone death, we must also postpone birth. It is not compulsory that everybody must reproduce. This is coming because of a tribal mindset, what will I leave behind? It is because of this people want to accumulate things that they don't need. They want to grab everything, half the world they want to conquer because they got 10 children. This needs to go. A time has come where human consciousness should become more important than human biology. If you're identified with your biology, you're still having an evolutionary issue, isn't it? Hello? If your biology is the most dominant force in you, you're still having an evolutionary issue. It is time we think beyond our biology. Many of you who are here with your spouses or your partners, you didn't deliver your spouse, isn't it? But you're doing quite fine with them. I'm saying you can do quite fine with people that you don't deliver.
So maybe just the last question for this session could be, I think what you said made me think about a couple of things. Immunization. Vaccines have been one of the greatest public health discoveries. In fact, one of the reasons why the lifespan increased so much…
Yes, definitely.
…is because of the availability of vaccines. We used to lose, half the number of children who were born used to die of pneumonia, diarrhea and other infections. Today, that mortality has been brought down significantly thanks to vaccines, but also to antibiotics. But now suddenly we are seeing a different trend. If you look at the news, every day you hear about measles outbreaks, not in some remote corner of Africa, but in France, in Germany, in Ukraine, in the United States. In fact, the President of the United States and most of the mayors and governors have been speaking up about the importance of immunization. Because if you take a disease like measles, it's not enough for me to vaccinate my child and hope that it will be protected. You need what is called herd immunity. And to get herd immunity, you need about 90–95% of the children in that community to be vaccinated. So an individual action, a parent decides my child does not need a vaccine because of whatever belief. It's sometimes religious, but very often it's not religious. And a recent survey just came out a few days ago, showed that people believed in the safety of vaccines 95% and above in Asia and Africa, but only 70% in Western Europe and even less in Eastern Europe. Only 50% of people, adults, believe that vaccines are safe. So this is beyond logic, it's beyond science, it's beyond any factual information that we give to people doesn't seem to be working. And yet, it impacts many others. You don't vaccinate your child, but the child who gets measles and dies may be somebody else's child. And so, I think it comes back to what you were saying about it's not just yourself. You need to think about the humanity, community, society, and most importantly, the planet where we live, and how we can modulate those actions.
This is a phenomena that we must observe historically or within families or individuals. Human beings get tired of well-being. They want some trouble. They like trouble, you know. They like it really. See, America spent billions and billions of dollars to build highways, but now everybody buys off-road vehicles because people like some trouble. Too much order creates a certain level of irritation in the human being. He wants a little chaos. They must visit India. So, this campaign is gaining momentum particularly in California, big time. A whole lot of parents coming to me and asking this, I'm telling them, don't be a fool, because when you find your child is either crippled with polio or something else… I remember this very well, when I was in school, there were 4 children in my school. I never stayed in one school for too long. So I was there maximum 2 years, 3 years, in any given school, 3 was the maximum. So in that high school where I was in one school for 3 years, in high school there were 4 polio-affected boys, 3 of them boys, 1 girl, who came to school in in a wheelchair, but many places the wheelchair wouldn't go in those days, so they would drag themselves and go. It was so terrible to see them. But today, even if you go to the remotest village in India, even if you go to the government schools where we work, there's not a single polio-affected child. It's fantastic to see that. So we don't know the value of these things. Unfortunately, we get tired of well-being. We want to invite some trouble. But having said that, I was talking to some of the parents in California, they were saying they're being put through some 40 or 42 different types of vaccines. They're saying it is causing learning disability, this, that, for all kinds of things. Maybe in United States, and I don't know what's the situation in Europe, maybe they're overdoing it a little bit. Apart from treating the basic things which were affecting children, which would cause death or cripple, it could cripple a child, I think they're attending to trying to give vaccine for just about everything. This may be affecting. I'm not some kind of a medical expert or something to make a commentary on this, but from listening to the parents, this is what I gathered. I don't remember all the things that they said they're giving vaccines for. I thought some of them were just absurd. Some of those illnesses a child can go through, it's okay, he catches a flu, something happens. It's all right to go through those things when you're growing up, but they're giving vaccines for a whole lot of things which may not be necessary, which today parents are apprehensive, maybe causing learning disability or some other problem. It may not be connected, I don't know, but this is the fear that is being spread. But the power and the well-being that vaccines have brought to our lives, most of us are sitting here because we were vaccinated. Hello? Yes. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. Definitely we wouldn't be here, many of us. So, we should not… see, the problem is just this, especially now because social media and things, we either go this extreme or that extreme. I feel, being the World Health Organization, please look into this, I'm not an expert, but what kind of vaccines they're giving in… the spectrum of vaccines they're giving in United States, for example. If it is too much, I think WHO should tell them this much is not needed. This is compulsory, rest is by choice. If it's made like that, I think there'll be a more healthy proportion. Otherwise, some parents are just not vaccinating their children. I said, you must be crazy, you'll lose your child. Anytime it can happen, the child goes to school and that may be the end of it. But out of their, their fear that vaccine is going to damage their brains or something, they are going for this kind of decision-making. I think a clear statement from an organization like WHO would help parents to make a better choice.
Thank you, Sadhguru. And I just wanted to clarify that vaccines cause adults, that's what you said. None of us would be sitting here if it were not for vaccination. So let's think of vaccines as causing adults. And I don't think there's anything as too much of a good thing. So the problem has been the anti-vax campaign, skeptics who have spread many… There are side effects of everything. Everything has a side effect, but 1 in a million, maybe 1 in 2 million. But they have been blown out of proportion. And this gets circulated through social media. So social media can have both very good benefits, but also can propagate falsehoods very rapidly. And I think one needs to be always a little skeptical of things that we see on social media and check for ourselves the veracity. As far as WHO is concerned, we have absolutely very clear-cut guidelines on vaccination. And there is, as I said, very clear guidance both for the public and for practitioners on which vaccines are absolutely essential for all children.
But I think it needs to be more published.
Perhaps it has to be
more…
more…
Or if you give such knowledge to us, we will…
That will be wonderful.
Publish. Because when I spoke to the parents, their concerns were genuine. They're not those flaky, new agey types. They're genuinely concerned that this may affect their children.
You're right. I think the messaging probably needs to be done through people whom they believe. And some people believe the doctors, but maybe they also like to hear it from others. So
if there's credible scientific information…
yes.
And also clearly what is a must and what is choice.
What is
If
optional.
that is created, I think it'll be good.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Namaskar.
Thank you, Dr. Swaminathan, for the truly insightful and absorbing conversation. The next segment of the program is a question and answer session. It's my pleasure to invite on stage Mr. Francis Gurry to moderate this session.
Thank you so much.
She was a doctor, it's okay, you're a lawyer, don't ask difficult questions.
Sadhguru, it's really a privilege to have this opportunity to interact with you, and please allow me to thank Ambassador Rajiv Chanda for giving me this opportunity. I think actually it's a sign of the greatest inclusiveness that India should invite an Australian on International Yoga Day during the middle of the World Cricket Cup.
So this doesn't mean we are this doesn't mean we are going to be kind to you on the cricket field.
I've noticed. So now I have many questions from many people in the audience who would like to ask for your wisdom, but may I start by asking you one myself? Please. So the power of inclusiveness. Now if we go back in the world, say 30 years, we
centuries ago, was a Pallava prince. 9 years he waited. He lopped off his own left arm. From there comes the now famous one-handed Namaste. Even today that school is in existence. Around 15 centuries ago, was a Pallava prince. He became a monk. He's immersed in what he is doing. As per the wishes of his guru, who told him, go north and spread this, he went north. Went north enough to go into China. When he went there, the news spread that Buddha's disciple or somebody who is in that path, deeply immersed, is coming this way. So Emperor who had this aspiration all his life, who had built meditation halls, gardens, everything ready, and translated all the Buddhist teachings into the local language, kept everything ready for a master to arrive. Now when he came, by then Emperor Hu is over 72 years of age. He came to the border of his kingdom to welcome Bodhidharma. And Bodhidharma was not impressed. Of course, he needed some rest and food, but he's not impressed with the grandeur of the welcome. But he received the welcome and sat down, and the moment they settled down, Emperor Hu said, can I ask you a question? Bodhidharma said, by all means, question. So he asked, I have built so many meditation halls, I have prepared so many gardens and so many translations, everything I have done to spread Buddha's message in this part of the world. Will I get Nibbana? Nibbana means nirvana or mukti or enlightenment. Bodhidharma looked at him, stared at him with his great big eyes and said, what? You? Nibbana? You will burn in the lowest hell. Somebody just welcomed you, gave you everything, gave you food. Now he says this, he says there's no chance for you. Because the very fact, as you're doing all these things, you're keeping accounts of how many things you have done in your life, you're not getting anywhere, and he walked away. People tried to hold him in many places, he just went away. And he went near a Shaolin temple, but he did not walk into the temple. He went and sat in a cave close by. So, when Bodhidharma went and settled in the cave, General Shen followed, wants to be his disciple because he has heard that Bodhidharma is a kalari expert, a master of kalari. But Bodhidharma doesn't say a word. 9 years he waited. Then Bodhidharma came out and entered the temple. General Shen followed, begging him, please take me as your disciple. Bodhidharma said, that will only happen when the snow turns red. So General Shen, in a fit of courage and sacrifice, he lopped off his own left arm and swung the arm around, and all the snow around was covered in his blood and froze in the snow. Bodhidharma looked at this and he could not push him away anymore. He took him as his disciple. General Shen, trained in kalari, became a master in his own way. From there comes the now famous one-handed namaste. Even today, they're doing it. This came from General Shen, who had only one arm. He did his namaste like this. Kalari is considered as the mother of all martial arts. Agastya Muni created this Kalari as an art form so that the yogis and the sadhakas could defend themselves against wild animals. It is from here martial arts went to China when Bodhidharma travelled and set up this first Shaolin school. Even today that school is in existence and still doing well. They've done various modifications, but the fundamentals are from the Kalari. This is not essentially a combat process as other martial arts have become. This is essentially a discipline, a kind of an exuberant version of the yogic practices, using the body in many different ways, which will also deepen one's understanding of one's own physical and psychological makeup and also the energetic system. She said, "I hear that monks are looking for shelter in many homes. Why don't you come and stay in my house?" Gautama said, "If she's inviting you with so much affection, you must go stay there." Then people saw, "See, he's gone." Gautama, the Buddha, with a large group of his disciples who was continuously traveling, made a rule that during the monsoon season, those 2.5 months, you can stay in the same place. The rule for the sannyasis or the monks who were with him is you should never stay in any place for more than 2 days. Normally, the monks were sheltered in many homes. So this rule he passed, more than 2 nights you don't stay in one house, because it will be too much of a burden for the whole. They are housing 10 people, you don't stay there for a month. 2 days, it should have been 1 day. 2, because you have walked a long distance and come, bit of recovery time. But during the monsoon season, he said, up to 2 to 2.5 months you can stay in one place, because walking through the jungles of that region during the monsoon season would be treacherous and many would lose their lives. So this is a time like that. They stayed in a large town and they were spread across in many homes. The monks went out to get their alms from the people. Ananda or Ananda Tirtha, as he was known, who happened to be Gautama's elder brother before his monkhood, went out and there was a courtesan or a prostitute in the town. She gave him alms, looked at him, a handsome young man, tall and straight. She said, "I hear that monks are looking for shelter in many homes. Why don't you come and stay in my house?" Another said, "I have no issue, but I must ask the Buddha as to where I should stay." Then she became really taunting. She said, "Oh, you're going to ask your guru? Go and ask him, let's see what he says." So Ananda brought what he had collected for the day. Gautama was sitting, he came and placed it at his feet, and everybody is supposed to find food and shelter wherever they go. Ananda asked, "Like this lady is inviting me, can I stay there?" Gautama said, "If she's inviting you with so much affection, you must go stay there." The townspeople who were sitting here, they said, "What? A monk is going to go and stay in a prostitute's home? This is it." This spiritual process has become corrupt. Gautama looked at them and said, "Why are you so worried? The lady is inviting him. Let him stay, what is the problem?" They all started getting up and started shouting. I said, "Wait, I am on this path because I see this is the most powerful way to live. Now you're telling me her ways are more powerful than my ways. If that is the truth, I will also go and join. I'm here because I see this is the most precious and powerful way to exist. If you think her ways are better than mine, I should also go and join. Because if you're a true seeker, that's how it should be. If you found something much higher, you go for that. Then people shouted and many of them, of course, leave. Then Ananda went and stayed with her. Monsoon time, because of rains it gets cold, monk is wearing a thin habit. So she gave him a nice silk wrap. He covered himself. Then people saw, see, he's gone. She made nice cooking and gave it to him, he ate. Then in the evening she danced for him. He sat, watching very carefully, with utmost attention. Then when they heard the music, this is it, finished. Things went on. When the time was up, when the rain stopped, when it's time to move, Ananda came to Gautama along with a female monk. So, the power of being on the path of truth has been there, but has been many times at its height, but never got mainstreamed. I see that today, because of our ability to communicate, because of the tools of technology, the natural longing, the innate longing in a human being to find truth. This is not a thought thing. This is not something that been taught to people that you must seek truth. It is natural for human intelligence to seek what is highest. If you are given an option, any human being, given an option, either to be here or there, he will always say, I want to be there. Right now he may be caught up here, but aspiration is to go to whatever is the highest. It is just that we have to show him that there are better highs than getting drunk, there are better highs than drugs, there are better highs than being caught up in social drama, there are better highs than being better than someone else. We just have to show it to him, we have to make him understand there is a better high. Forever, many sages, saints, yogis, gurus have been doing this, but as I said, they were gentle people. They didn't have a voice like me. They didn't have a microphone. They didn't have tools with which they could speak to somebody there. They could only speak to people here. In spite of that, they did tremendous things. For their times, many of them did tremendous things out of sheer grace and energy. Millions of people around them, they transformed. Millions of people around them, they put them on the path of truth, on the power of truth. But a time has come where our ability to communicate is such, we can make truth slip through every door. We can make truth knock on everybody's minds and hearts. Never before this was possible. Technology has rendered us to this place. I feel this is the best age ever to make truth mainstream, to be truthful, to aspire for truth, to seek truth, the main force on the planet, because we have tools that nobody ever had.
Do you see this body? As we've been going through this again and again to the same point, when it was born, it was so small. Now it became this much. Definitely you didn't need any external stretching help to get it to this size, isn't it? That which is the source of creation, what you refer to as the creator, seem to be functioning from within you, isn't it so? Yes. The creator is functioning, that means the manufacturer of this body and this existence seems to be functioning from within you. If the manufacturer is inside, if you allow him to function, fixing small flaws in the body, you think it'll be a problem? So, Shambhavi Mahamudra is just creating a passage so that your innermost core functions. If you allow it to function, the nature of this, in yoga, we refer to your innermost core as the bliss body. People have always talked for ages that if you come in contact with God, you will become blissful, Brahmanand. They've been talking about this. See, it's different ways of presenting it. Your innermost core is referred to as bliss body. Now, all we are trying to do is the physical body, the mental body, the pranic body and the etheric body, we are aligning it in such a way so that the innermost core within you, the bliss body, finds expression. The Shambhavi is not creating ecstasy. The Shambhavi is just aligning these four so that this one, the source of creation, finds expression. If the source of creation within you, the creator, finds expression, fixing your heart, liver or kidney, you think it's a big problem? Manufacturer, when he comes out and begins to function, everything is fixed. You will see miraculously, health will become okay. I can show you thousands and thousands of people who come out of their ailments just like that, like a miracle. Is it a miracle? Anything that you don't understand, you will call it a miracle, isn't it? Suppose you don't know what is electricity, and I tell you, you just watch this, I'm going to press that wall and this hall will be flooded with light. Would you believe me? You won't believe me. You'll say, no, such things are not possible. Now if I press it and suddenly there's light everywhere, now you think either I'm son of God, messenger of God or God himself, depending upon which culture you come from. Isn't it? Anything that you don't understand is a miracle in your understanding. Either there is no miracle in life, everything happens between cause and effect, or everything is a miracle. Isn't this life a miracle? You and me sitting here on this round planet which is going at a tremendous speed, is it not a miracle? We sitting here and talking all this nonsense. Is it not a miracle? So if you look at it, if you have eyes to see, everything is a miracle or nothing is a miracle. These are two ways to approach life, these are two forms of yoga. One is to see everything as sacred. Another is to see everything as utter nonsense. But now your problem is, what you like is sacred, what you don't like is nonsense. That's a problem, that's a trap. Everything is sacred, this is a beautiful way to live. Everything is nonsense, that is also a very beautiful way to live. What these people are sacred, these people are nonsense, this will destroy.
If you stayed until now, if you paused your day to listen, that already sets you apart from most. Like the video, comment where you're watching from, and check the links in the description. You'll definitely find more content that continues this conversation with you. Thanks, big hug, and see you in the next video.